What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Ani-mity, and welcome back to another one of my log entries. Uh, this week, not really a whole lot to report. Went about the usual grind of work. I spent a lot of time with my parents. My parents came to visit me. I think I mentioned in my last log entry. They were just coming to visit me. Now they just left as of today. So there's a bit of the feels hitting. It's like I touched on in my last video, there is definitely something to the whole like work-life balance of things, and there is something that just makes seeing my family, who I haven't really seen in such a long time, and being with them in person, being able to hug them, being able to like just have that moment with them, it meant the world to me. It really did. Just something about, I guess, like the breaks in the norm and having that connection. 'Cause, I mean, when I go on the job, a lot of the time I'm spending it kind of just heads down working, and there isn't really a lot of opportunities for me to really spend that time talking with my coworkers. 99% of the time I can't actually talk to them, I don't understand them for the most part, but it's just there is something that's very isolating about that feeling. And not that I ever really minded it. Like I went about the job, I did my best with everything that I do, and you just move on like from task to task to task to task, and just kind of endlessly keep that momentum going. And I never really minded that that was the case, but I guess I never really considered in the process of that what kind of toll that was going to take on me. I never really realized how that was affecting me and my mood and my mental and emotional state, as I was trying to just kind of figure things out. There was something that is just really interesting about, I guess, the way that worked and the effects that had on me, because it definitely was more than I ever anticipated that it would have been. Um, it's just like I said, it was so nice getting a chance to see my family. While they were here as well, we went to go see a whole bunch of museums. I've always appreciated kind of like the soul behind a lot of different art. It's like art history was never something that necessarily interested me, but like learning about like the passion and the creativity that goes into the works of Van Gogh, or what goes into the works of like Rembrandt, or all these other things, like the mystery and the stories behind them. That's always what I found interesting. And getting the chance to go to see some of the museums here, see some of the history here in Orlando, has been great to get to see. We also got to see Project Hail Mary. Man, was that movie fun! Like, it was just like it. The story was simple enough to follow along and that kind of thing. There's a lot of things that kind of left you wondering, like, okay, how do we circle back to where things are going in the story? Um, and it just was a very fun time with it. I mean, they built up the characters very well. They made the emotions all work. I think the person who directed this also directed Martian, and it kind of, you can feel it in the way some of it's shot. Like, it's a, if I could say that, I don't even know if I got this from Ithaca, but it is something that I've definitely started noticing a lot more. Um, I'm trying to remember what the movie is called. I know what Rob Reiner does, like Princess Bride, and I think he did also A Few Good Men. And I remember watching both movies, and I was like, yeah, I can tell. Like, I recognize like the way lighting works. I recognize the way in which certain shots are emphasized and that kind of thing. I can sometimes tell when works are done by the same director. I might not always remember the director's name, but I can definitely be like, oh yeah, this looks similar to that movie. And I could tell like some of the same like brush strokes, the way that an artist would be able to tell, like, this is an art piece by such and such, and that kind of thing. And there's some stuff with Project Hail Mary where I feel like the way it's shot and the way the story kind of comes together really does feel like it was made by the person who did Martian. And that's not a shot at it whatsoever. I love the movie Martian. And there is just that same kind of like cozy, like, there's something very cozy about both movies where you get to really like feel for the characters. You feel like you're a part of the story just as much, and you feel like you're isolated with those characters. And there's something that is very fun about that experience, because you really feel for them by the end. Like, you really feel like you went on this whole journey with the characters. And I think with movies, that is something that's really cool to do. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say like, oh, well, isn't that really due to the screenwriter or due to the story there? And it's true. The screenwriter, I mean, has a lot of how that story does come together, but a lot of when it comes to the movie, it comes down to more of the director. And something that I also learned when I was doing my screenwriting process and that kind of thing. There's a difference between TV show writing and movie writing. I learned I definitely wanted to do more TV show writing, just because I wanted to be able to have a lot more input and a lot more say on how my show ends up going about. Like ultimately, the choices of what stays and what goes is in the hands of the producers. Like we don't really get that say. And yeah, I'd have to be quite an influence and have quite a lot of money to really make things go the way that I want to do. But ultimately, if that's where I want to go, if that's the kind of direction that I want to have with it, I decided that mostly I wanted to be able to be a script. Like it's the some people argue like, oh, why don't you try to be a producer or that kind of? Because producers like we put the money toward a lot of ideas. We don't really necessarily have the ideas ourselves. I kind of want to be like I maybe write and produce my own project. But then it's also getting to that point of being producer kind of was always so intimidating to me, and just the authority and the power that comes with being in that kind of position. It's like it's one of those things that when you look into the process of what it takes to get a script made to levels that I guess I wanted to when I went to Ithaca, I realized it's just there's a lot to it. It kind of intimidated me and it kind of like turned me away from something. Because like for me, it's not necessarily about like the control or that kind of thing. I just want to be a part of a team of writers. And usually when you hear about a team, it's more so for TV show writing than it is for movie writing. Like, if a movie writer wanted to have someone like a co-writer working the script and that kind of thing, listen, I love that. Like being able to work on these kind of projects is something that's really, really cool too. But anyway, that's what TV show writing. With movie writing, the way it tends to work is a screenwriter will write the script, a movie studio will then purchase it, and then ultimately the director kind of, well, as the name would imply, directs. They make the go no go decisions of kind of how scenes go about, how they want things to ultimately look and work. They can make changes to the script on the fly, and ultimately the screenwriter doesn't really have a lot of say in that process because at that point they've sold the script. They've wiped their hands of it. The script is no longer in their possession, so now it's all the way up to the directors and whoever's working on that movie to decide like what elements of that end up being implemented, if any of them are implemented whatsoever. Of course, we still get the credit as one of the writers for it, but it's not quite the same. And I understand like that for some people being a frustration is just the nature of the business ultimately. Um, but yeah, I was saying with Project Hail Mary, there were strokes of it you could definitely tell were done by the director who did Martin. I don't know his name on the top of my head, but just you could definitely see the strokes. And again, I don't mean that as an offense at all. I love the movie Martian very, very much. And I think that is a stroke of a really good, like it's consistency, I think is something that's really, really good because that you've proven that you can make a good movie and that you're able to, that you understand yourself enough that you can repeat those strokes really makes the movies, like it makes the movies have a feel to them that becomes familiar and that in turn inspires people to come back, watch more. I think like once I do remember the name of the director, anytime I see that name, I'm going to want to go see his movies because I know his feel, I know the strokes that go into his kind of creations, and it's going to make me want to go for the more. And it's the same with Rob Reiner. I mean, like between the Spinal Tap? Is that the name of the mockumentaries that he was making? I'm trying to remember. I saw both documentaries. I thought they were so funny, and I wanted to see more. It's unfortunate what happened with that, but I mean, between that, the adaptation of The Princess Bride, like I've read the William Goldman Princess Bride book, and don't get me wrong, the book is really, really good. But I think that there is something about like the way Robert took that book and the way he adapted it and all the different choices he made in how the shot composition worked and that kind of thing. It's the two are forever linked, and I think that forever people will know the Princess Bride like movie more than they'll know the book. And just again, that's a stroke of just the way that came together for that. But it's like it's establishing that feel and establishing that like I guess persona or whatever you want to really call it. It's like the establishing this presence is I guess the best word I have for it. And as a director, I think both the person who did Project Hail Mary and the person who did The Martian is great. And I love the movie for that. I guess I would want to go more into detail, but it's also just like it's like now the movie's kind of settled a little bit in the back of my mind, so I don't really remember all the details. It's also I don't really want to go into like a lot of stuff because also I want people to check out this movie. It was really, really, really good, and I'm super glad I got to do that with my folks. And again, it was just a very nice change of pace from what I've been doing lately here. And I have been very busy. Recently, I got deployed to a new area, which I didn't know was going to happen. Which I know, not so much I didn't know it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen, but it's like I wasn't expecting it, I guess is the word. It's more like this is something that said like it is a common thing that happens in the program. And I had a couple of days of like wrapping my head around what exactly was going to be entailed of me. And I thought I was going to be in for a lot more trouble than I ended up being. But the people there were super, super nice. I have nothing but like I loved the people at the area I worked at. If I had the chance to work there again, then I absolutely will. It was great to be a part of that little community there. Um, so just programs going well, things are going well. I got to see my folks, so I'm very, very happy about that. We'll see how I feel next week. Yeah, keep this nice and short. That's my updates for this week, and I'll catch you guys in the next vlog. Peace.